This little class, are we ready? Yeah. This little class is on some different ways to blend with acrylic paints. I know half of you use acrylics and half of you use enamel and half of you use magics. And, it's all the same but different. It's just a matter of applying the paint. So the first little thing, this is my wet palette. It's a Masters wet palette. You get it online for like 10 or 12 bucks. It comes with a sponge and a bunch of wet palette paper. The wet palette paper it comes with, throw that away, and just go out and get some parchment paper. This is regular white parchment paper, baking paper that you get at Vons. Cut it in a square. I leave room around the outside of my palette so I can clean my brush and add water. So when I add water, I don't dip my paintbrush and add water. I add water the tip of my brush and I squish it in like that. I want full control of my paint. Now the cool thing about the parchment paper is it doesn't let water through it. It will keep it moist. And if it does let water through, I'm sure there might be a micro amount. It's not enough to mess with your paint. The paints that we use are already pretty thin. So if you use the regular wet palette paper that comes with these kits, it actually lets water up through, and you can see your paint when you take the paper off. You can see mine is pretty clean in the middle. When you take your paper off, you'll see paint going straight down into your sponge. That means that water is going straight up into your paint. And for regular artists, like acrylic paints, they're very thick, and that's okay because you're going to need a lot of water. But for what we do, after about 5 minutes, your paint's unusable. I mean, unless you just like painting with clear liquid. So I like having full control of my paints. I want to be able to paint with thick paint and with thin paint all at the same time and of the same color. So.
So the purpose of that is just to keep the paint from drying out?
It just keeps the paint hydrated. It keeps it from drying out too fast.
Okay.
And that was when I first started painting. That was a lot of the problem is I'd mix up a color or a couple colors that I was going to try to blend with, and not knowing how to blend, it's like you're trying to experiment, and at the same time, by the time you get to the second color, it's already dry. It just makes you want to quit. So everything I've learned is moving forward to a point where I don't want to quit all the time. So, and since I do this for a living, that would be really bad.